Hello everyone and welcome back to another Babbling Irons video with myself, Mike and Sloth today. A little bit different, not a player breakdown, but more of a structural breakdown of it's just nice and refreshing, isn't it, going into June? It looks like we're getting Bruno over the line. He might even be announced by the time this video's out. Acting fast from leagues like South America, actually scouting leagues like South America and doing our due diligence. And yeah, it just looks like we're trying to move as fast and efficiently as possible this summer. Because again, we've said it so many times, the big rebuild at West Ham this summer with the new manager. But it looks like Steidten and Loptetegui aren't messing about this summer. And yeah, it's just a breath of fresh air, isn't it, lads?
Yeah, it's really good to see. And I think that when you take into account, certain approaches in the past, particularly not just for Moyes, it's been at every level of the club. We always seem to be ponderous in our approach to the market, and we never seem to have many new additions when we want them at the start of pre-season. And I think that if we can change that, you want everyone firing on all cylinders from day one.
Yeah, well, it really is just a change, isn't it? I mean, it's been kind of a fast change. Steiden's been here like a year now, I think, coming up to a year. So he's now got the impact he wants. He's in a position at West Ham where he's working with a manager that's, again, we spoke about his relationship with Moyes, but Lopetegui, with the quotes he's come out with and the approach he has as a manager, he's very much on board with the Tim Steidten of a club. So that's a first tick. And then I guess the fact is they've got a little bit of a leeway right now to get ahead of the competition, A, because of the Euros, B, because when a new manager's coming in, he's not got that downtime right now, whereas Moyes would probably, if Moyes was still in charge, he has that downtime. He's not really going to be wanting to make active movements. Lopetegui's been out of a job for a while now, so he's come back in fresh. He's been analysing the squad for a few months. So I reckon there's been a lot of stuff brewing. Again, Tim Steiden's been to Brazil for the past 6 to 9 months. There's been a lot brewing in the background to make this happen and make this happen efficiently over the next month or so, because with the Euros happening, mid-June to mid-July, it's going to be difficult to make the harder transfers happen, maybe the top European targets. But Mike, I mean, we've said it before, going into areas like South America and finding this sort of talent, it's probably best to get that done now as opposed to later on in the window.
Yeah, well, this season's only just really starting again, so it's a bit of an odd format and the way it goes, but their season's basically just kind of kicking back off. So I think they're about 9-10 games in. So it's a great time to move within that league. There is a desire to sell as well. I think they've realised that there is selling into the market, they can get a bit more into Europe. And there's a wealth of talent there. You've just got to be willing to take that risk. And I have seen some comments today which are just making me laugh, in that they've been begging for West Ham to act quickly. They've been begging for West Ham to maybe go for some unknowns and some unearth. And then it's, yeah, but we're going for this 28-year-old who out of Brazil, he's never played anywhere else. He's a no one. It's like, he's a Brazilian international. Fair enough, he's only had a few caps, but he's a Brazilian international. He's been talked about as one of the best centre-backs in the Brazilian league. And the last time we signed a player from the Brazilian league, in his first season, he was an absolute rock and became a cult hero in Balbuena. So I wouldn't really be worried about a player at 28 coming out, because we did exactly the same with Balbuena. And sometimes we raised this point about Atalanta. I'm not comparing us to Atalanta in any way, shape or form. But we talked about this in that you don't need to go and buy names. Atalanta is a prime example of a collection of players who've either been discarded by clubs, deemed not good enough in some cases, or players that made a move and didn't necessarily do so well. And they've gone and bought them. So they haven't gone and bought these names. They're known players, arguably, give or take, but they're not names. And they've just gone and won a Europa League. And they've done that by spending incredibly economically, as well as producing from their youth team. And those types of teams are the models we need to replicate. Same with Bayer Leverkusen. Their net spend has been ridiculous. They have spent money. There's no two ways about it. They have spent money. However, they've gone and bought players from leagues that maybe have not been renowned or particularly, viewed as anything. Like, look at Hincapié, for instance. They went and bought him for a pittance, and now they're looking to potentially sell him for 40, 50 million. It's these kind of deals that we need to do and be smarter, and exploiting markets like South America, where the talent is high but the value is low, is something you need to do, because Europe is arguably a tapped resource. Everyone knows there's money, so therefore money is harder to kind of sometimes give away, because people have such a high expectation in terms of what they can get from European teams.
Do you think with the Tim Steidten and Loptetegui model and what they want to push now this summer, that this might be the least amount of signings we've made from other Premier League teams, or targeting the Premier League market, because it's it's inflated with the prices, and we're working with a lot, needing a lot with not the most massive of budget as well if Paqueta stays, but also just because the way Tim Steidten's operating, he's looking at these European markets like you mentioned there, Mike, and he's looking to find the gems as opposed to just going and buying the best players in the world, because that's not how we can operate as a football club.
I think a large part of it will depend on the Paqueta situation. If he gets sold, then I can see us really going for someone like Morgan Gibbs-White from within the Premier League. I think we maybe look at players who've just been relegated as well. I know in the past we've seen links with the likes of Odebear, and I think Morris at Luton, but it's just a case of, if we can get smart deals done, I never have a problem with buying from the Premier League, but it's a case of, historically West Ham just seem to do it very poorly, and we seem to pay over the odds. Whereas what's really refreshing about this approach is not just that it's sort of a data-driven approach that we're being told about, it's data-driven and we're trying to follow Brighton and Brentford. It's not that. It's the fact that we seem to be looking for a physical model, whether it's quick defenders in the case of Bruno. He is someone regarded as a big physical centre-back. But it's that idea that's even Jota Silva, it's versatile, quick players who are good on the ball. Jacob Greaves, he's another one, big physical centre-back, good on the ball. And we've seen these links where it seems to be we're looking for a profile of player rather than just, say, a name from a Premier League side or a European side that we believe is proven at this level.
It's less of a hodgepodge approach and less of it. Yeah, you say, I've seen this player do it in the Premier League, therefore he can do it for us, but it's not necessarily actually going, well, does the player fit us and does it work for us?
Yeah, I know, I completely agree. I think as well, like, this isn't, we never operated with data when this happened, but some of the best players we've had in, the last kind of 8 to 10 years have actually been not from obviously Premier League. They've been from places like, Marseille, for example, for Payet. Lanzini was picked up from South America. Like, you will find
picked up from Dubai.
Dubai. Yeah, exactly. Like, how rogue is that? So there's so many, again, I think the way football is heading, you can't dismiss data anymore. You just can't. You have to use it to your advantage, and clubs are starting to do that. They're really starting to develop models that are A, sustainable for a football club, because that's probably the most important thing for a lot of business owners right now, and B, effective. You've seen clubs that are working on a lot lower budgets than the likes of Man City, Arsenal, etc., in different European leagues as well. They're performing well because they've got this model in place, and they're kind of aligned in what they want to do. And again, it's just refreshing to see that happening at West Ham. And looking at the types of players we're being linked with. Again, people will say Bruno coming in 28, etc. It's not necessarily the most exciting signing, but it's a smart signing. Well, and we're still in May, not even June, and it's someone that's going to replace, say, an Ogbonna, and then you're still getting links with the likes of Wesley Gasova, who's a very exciting talent and young.
I think we would all prefer. I think this is the thing with fans. It's this thing like it's basically star chasing. We're chasing names and things like that, because even David Sullivan's perpetuated it as well. We've always wanted to do a marquee signing or break his previous kind of transfer record. It's vanity. They're vanity signings, basically. But I'm pretty sure every West Ham fan said you're going to sign a whole bunch of players that you're going to think are boring, not particularly exciting, and probably only the biggest ones going to be around about 20, 25 million quid. You're going to buy 6 or 7 of them, but you're going to get Europe. They would snap your arm off in a second. But it's because of the way we've always been. There is some level of snobbery and a bit of judging a player before they even come over and played. And if you're paying £15 million for someone like Bruno, that's smart business. And it's over 3 years. So again, we're breaking that down. I know there's amortization anyway, which means they're often broken down, but we've deliberately negotiated a very reduced fee, essentially, for over a 3-year period. So it's smart business to go and identify. You need a centre back, someone who's potentially probably going to be more of a squad player, and you've got to found a Brazilian international. It's quick, meets a profile that we want in being able to be a ball player. We're identifying other players the same, and whilst they may not be exciting names, they may not be something that other teams maybe are clamouring for. But as we've said in the past, building the squad is much better than building a group of individuals, and we've played like individuals arguably over the last 2 years at times because we play in moments. I'd rather have a team that can play collectively and the sum of all their parts makes it a great team. I'd rather have that than just having a good 11 which has individual moments, but when those moments are not there, you pretty much see your team that is average and below what arguably it should be.
I think when you see some of the best business we've done in recent seasons, you know, Diafra Sakho, that's in terms of a business sense, that's someone who came in for very little money and performed well above what we'd expect. Demba Ba is one that, you know, we got relegated at the end of it, but he scored a lot of goals, and Newcastle did exactly the sort of thing that we're talking about, where they smartly bought him and then he scored for fun for them. So it's a case of getting smart deals, not necessarily big name players or even players who have shown that they can perform at a high level. Like, let's say Lingard, for example, you know, someone who was around Manchester United and did well for us, and then we kept chasing him. It's a case of we're looking at players who are perhaps on the fringes or in a league that doesn't necessarily get the scouting. You know, even Ibrahim Osman, who you know, from FC Nordjylland, those sort of leagues are now hopefully the sort of thing we're going to target.
Yeah,
look at Mo. That's where Mo came from. He came out of you know, the Ghanaian league through the Dream, is it Foundation? Is that what it is?
Right, Dream,
yeah. And then went on to Denmark. And there's that market, that Scandinavian market, is something that Brentford for a while were very good at kind of exploiting. But there's a lot of players, especially from, you know, Africa and so on, who are finding that route into European football. And it's a great thing to do, because looking in these obscure leagues, people look at the league rather than the player. And that's the thing. Yes, and sometimes they can look like they overperform or that they stand out. They're going to, because they're good players. But what you then look at is, well, what do they do really well in that league, which helps them stand out? And then it's that matter of, well, do their numbers, if you were to kind of do a weighting against it, does that then equate to a player that could, you know, step up? Can they meet, you know, an average, and then could they step up? There's loads of players throughout Europe, you know, playing in the Austrian league and so on. That's particularly at the Red Bull teams in Austria, that are well worth a look, and they won't be incredibly expensive. They won't be necessarily well known, but, and again, people might go, well, why would you look at the Austrian league? But then when you think of, well, look at Julen, came from the Austrian league. Szoboszlai came from that league. Despite, if it hadn't been for his injuries.
Look at what Boniface has done at Leverkusen this season. You know, not coming from the Austrian league, but we're talking about the Belgian league. Those are you know, comparable leagues.
Yeah, I think that's the key, isn't it? I mean, there just needs to be that balance, and I think the more smart signings we make, it will outbalance the, you know, the vanity ones you're mentioning there, Mike, that we're previously accustomed to. And, you know, as fans, you want that exciting name. You know, I'm guilty for it as well. You know, when we're linked with a high profile player, you know, Lucas Paqueta was a prime example of that. When that deal came off, it was massive. Mo Kuda slightly went under the radar a little bit because it was a smart move at a stage of the transfer window, which was quite late on, but it was one that's just exploded this summer, this season. He's shown his worth. Lucas Paqueta coming in, you know, Brazilian name, you know, in the Brazilian national team, one of the flair players, like those are the types of signings you will naturally get drawn to as fans. But it's the smart business that's going to build the foundations. That's what we need to now do as a football club, because there's so much work to be doing. And if we are going to try and target a big name, it has to be driven by the way we want to play and the philosophy of the manager and suit the system. It can't just be plucked out of thin air just because it's a name, or someone that's going to, you know, sell shirts.
Presented to us by an agent.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very difficult to ignore as a business owner right now in football, you know, with the agent power that is. But yeah, I think, you know, to summarize, it's very refreshing to see. And I think we just need to be patient now, because we've got a long summer ahead. And the fact that we're getting these types of signings like Bruno and looking in these types of leagues is a positive. I don't think it's going to be the entire strategy of the market. I think we will also look into, you know, there's so many different, I mean, even the Championship, for example, there's so much talent across different countries and in different leagues. So let Tim Steidten and Julen Loptetegui do their thing. And hopefully, yeah, we'll be sitting here in a few months going into the season in August with a balanced squad, not just a team, but a squad, because that's what we need to assemble now at West Ham. So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments down below of Tim Steidten and Loptetegui early doors. Are you liking what you're seeing? Is there anything you think they need to prove this summer to West Ham fans to buy your trust a little bit? Yeah, let us know. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And lads, until next time.
Come on, you
eyes.
eyes.